Welcome members who have already joined us. You're most welcome. We will start at 3:10. So you're most welcome.
Okay. Banange, have I been on? I thought I unmuted. Evening.
Yes, we have heard all the whispers.
They are not whispers, it was work, but apologies. I was trying also to get, I'm trying to get more people onto the group because this late coming cannot be accepted. Yes.
You'll get there.
Asante.
Some people could be on the road running to get a comfortable place.
Good afternoon. Thank you for those who have joined already. We are giving ourselves 8 more minutes and then we'll start.
Thank you. And I think people are crashing on the gate now. Rushing.
I tried to share this link with Teddy and she's saying she's not, I don't know if she has been able to join. Teddy or Yale.
PNP, just share the announcement.
Let me do that.
Share the announcement.
So it's also live streaming on YouTube. People can be able to follow. I've shared the link on Uganda Matters University Alumni group. I'm also going to share on UMU.
Thank you. I've also shared it with the UMU support staff, who are mostly alumni as well.
You mean the YouTube link?
Oh God,
Ian P, you're going to mute.
I thought I was muted.
Good afternoon, welcome. Members who are joining us, we have 4 minutes to start as per our program, so kindly bear with us. Thank you. Alan, good to see you. Professor Mawa, good to see you online. Alan, we don't forget our own.
No, I don't. Thank you, guys.
Alan, good to see you.
Oh my God.
I can see you are hibernating there in a comfy zone.
Apparently, I'm back in the country.
I mean, what else is life for if not that?
Sure.
Good to see you, Professor Mawa.
Nice to see you all. Ambrose, thank you for organizing.
Well, the team is there. Me, I'm just making noise in front, but the team is behind there making things happen.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the leadership.
Yeah, and thank you for supporting.
Sir Ambrose. Sir Ambrose.
Yes, sir.
Hey, how are you? Hey.
When someone puts that prefix, then I know it has to be you.
Hey, we are just here at the base.
Yeah, but Dennis, anyway.
Hey. I'm at the base.
Somewhere just a few minutes ago.
I'm at the base. At the base. When I say the base, you know the base.
I know, but I didn't expect to see you here because I saw you holding a spade and a hoe.
No. The new normal.
Right.
Work, pray while you work.
Exactly.
All the best, guys.
David, I hope you are also going to share the link to the alumni registration database, the link to the alumni database, so that if any of us is here and has not yet registered, then the alumni database can register. But also David has posted something in the chat room there. Kindly do leave with us your details. We would like to keep in touch.
good afternoon, good morning, good evening, alumni and friends. It's 3:10, and I would like us to start as we wait for the rest of the team to join. I welcome you all to our second online meet, and I'm very happy to see old faces that we know. And as the rest join us, I'm sure it will be an interesting discussion. Allow me to just go through the program as it's on screen, and then we will set off. We will start with the opening prayer. We'll have the UMU anthem. I will welcome participants and introduce the session. I will introduce the keynote speaker and invite him to present. I'll open up discussion to the general audience and look at comments in the chat room as well. I will invite the keynote speaker to make responses and wrap up the remarks. I will invite our president to give us a few remarks. We'll have an overview on attendance and the special recognitions, and then we hope that we'll close at exactly 5. So with this, I want to thank each one of you who has made time to be with us, and as the rest join, like I said earlier, to the UMUA team, I am delighted on this day that you've asked me to moderate the session. I know most of the people who are online already know me, but I'm called Evelyn Grace Ayot. I'm an alumni of UMU, EDS, 1998, MA 2002. I'm also an alumni staff, 1998 to 27. So thank you very much. I will ask Baine, can you give us the opening prayer, please? Mr. Baine, you're welcome.
Thank you, Evelyn. We humble ourselves for prayer. Almighty Father, we want to thank you for the gift of life. We want to thank you for this day. We want to thank you for UMU, that is Uganda Matters University. We want to thank you for the Matters of Uganda who gave us our name. We want to thank you for all the years that the university has existed. We want to thank you for the alumni, each and every individual. We want to also ask you to forgive us where we have failed in the will of this university. And we once again restore ourselves in the spirit of UMU and ask that you be with us as we continuously grow our identity as alumni. We put this meeting, we put this session into your hands. Cover us with your precious blood and let us enjoy our different ideas and our thinkings. I gracefully present our prayer through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Baine. David, can you remind us of the UMU anthem? For those who have been away for years, it might be good sound in our ears. Thank you.
Inspired by those, by whose name we are called, the Matters of Uganda, source for us, source of our courage and our hope, guide us in virtue to lead the world, build through may we remain to the name Uganda Matters University, a place of love where it is good to be. Guide us in wisdom to lead the world.
Thank you very much, David. Like I said earlier, we are so grateful for this day. And I would just like us to go through the rules briefly. I know we've all been on Zoom, But I'd like to remind us that when we are not speaking, we mute our microphones. Host will also be able to help us. If we have to speak, we'll raise up our hands. If you'd like to keep your video on throughout the session, no problem. If you'd like to mute it as well, that's okay with us. And we'll be using the chat room as often as possible for anything that we need to announce. We have to introduce ourselves in the chat room. Please do that. I am delighted to say that our topic for this afternoon is unpacking behaviors that derive personal success, opportunities for UMU alumni. And it is my prayer that by the end of this discussion, we would have shared ideas. What are those behaviors? What are we packing and what are we unpacking? And what does that mean to Uganda Matters University Alumni Association? And when I looked at the idea of unpacking, I looked at a bag, I looked at a box. We are removing and removing and removing. It could be good behavior, it could be bad behavior, but I don't want to probe our speaker this afternoon. I would want to start talking about what a professor is going to share with us. Allow me at this time to introduce the keynote speaker and be able to invite him to share his thoughts and ideas with us. When I was asked to moderate this session with Professor Francis Mugisha, I told Ambrose it's okay. Mugisha has been a friend, Mugisha has been a colleague, but officially I would like to summarize, because when I looked at Mugisha's CV, it was a booklet, and I asked myself, where do I start from? But I'll be able to summarize his CV according to the person that I know. When I was asked, Professor John Francis Mugisha, who is he? He is currently the Vice Chancellor of Cavendish University in Uganda. We have very other Cavendish universities, but I know he's the Vice Chancellor of Cavendish University in Uganda. By the way, Mugisha is the only Vice Chancellor who invites another head of state in this country as his Chancellor, other than the head of state of Uganda. So Professor Mugisha is a powerful person amidst us. Professor is an educationist, but he's an alumni of Uganda Matters University. He is a researcher, he is a scholar, he is a consultant, not only in Uganda, but in many other countries, including Malawi, South Africa, Lesotho, Kenya, UK, Ghana, etc. Mugisha is a publisher. He is a project manager, and I want to say he has managed successful projects, because you can be a manager and your projects collapse. But Mugisha is a testimony of someone who has managed and managed successfully. He has been engaged in education for the last 16 years, and he continues to give his advice, to give his guidance, and to give his support. As an academician, he's been a visiting speaker in many universities. For example, we've had him as a visiting speaker in Padova in Italy, the Keele University in the UK, and he is also a visiting professor at University of Ibadan. He is a fellow of the public health professions, a member of the National Immunization Technical Advisory Group. And I say, we don't ask him about the COVID vaccine now, though he's on the task force. So we will hear that one some other time. Professor Mugisha, like I said, is currently the vice chairperson of the Uganda Vice Chancellors Forum and a member of the National Council for Higher Education, representing private universities. Beyond education, Professor Mugisha has been a recipient of the Golden Jubilee Presidential Medal for his contribution to public health and higher education. So he has been recognized by this country. With this summary, Professor, I welcome you to give us your presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Evelyn, for your kind, extremely generous introduction. It's a pleasure meeting the UMU community again. I lived in UMU for a full 15 years, one of which I was a student, and 14, a member of staff. Unlike many of you, I lived in UMU with my family. My wife, Kellen, and my children, 3 of who were born in UMU, all lived with us in UMU. For all those years, you can imagine, if I tell you I left UMU when I was 45, then you can imagine when I joined UMU. We were very young people, and we grew up from UMU. We got children while we were in UMU. We built a family when we were in UMU and strengthened it. So we are a typical example, I and my wife, Karen Musima, who used to be the university nurse, of real products of Uganda Matters University. And I want to thank people, particularly Evelyn. I think she's one of the reasons I thought I could stay in UMU after my Master of Science in Health Services Management. There was a group of about 2 or 3 people, Evelyn, late Eliza. The way they were working during that year that I was doing my master's, I said, hey, this is a different place altogether. I wish I could work here. And God hears prayers, by the way. Before I completed my program, I was approached by the head of the department and asked if I wanted to stay behind and become a lecturer. And I said, hallelujah. I never looked back. And for a whole other 14 years, I lived in UMU. I was planning, actually, we were planning on staying in UMU almost forever. You can't believe it. That's why we built a hostel and put in there a house in between it with a sitting room, and we planned our bedrooms, and we said when we are not in UMU, we will go to this place, and then the wings will accommodate students, maybe postgraduate students, and we will live here. But I think as you plan your things, God also plans his own things. An opportunity came and took my wife away to Nakaseke district, where she is acting district health officer, and she has been there for over 6 years. And then I got an offer of a promotion. And I went and discussed with the Vice Chancellor. I said, well, this promotion has come and this is the challenge before me. Do you allow me to go? And he said, because you are going for a promotion, we will happily allow you to go because we know you remain part of us. And I surely have remained part of UMU, and it's a pleasure. So quickly, I will take you through, I will share my screen. And then take you through my presentation. Our presentation is unpacking behaviors that drive personal success. And we'll be relating with the presentation as alumni of Uganda Matters University. So we have all been welcomed, and I've said a few things about myself and I've been introduced. I'll go straight to the concepts of behavior and personal success. And I will say something on dangers of failure, which is why we are talking about personal success. I will beg to refer to a scenario coined by Ambrose. I have not consulted him, but I'm recognizing him. And then I will go into behaviors that drive personal success and give concluding remarks. So it's nice to be in UMU again. And I hope that when the conditions permit, we will move from online and be able to meet physically and break bread, as it were, and reunite, even physically. I want, first of all, unpack the concepts so that we speak the same language. I'll try to keep it as easy and simple as possible. Those of you who lived with me in UMU know that I had crafted a style of delivering messages through stories. But now when I look at the time, I cannot deploy that technique. So I'll try to keep the balance between storytelling and being on brief and on point. Behavior is the way in which a person acts or conducts himself or herself. It is connected with how we think and how we reflect. This is important because it shows we are in control of our own behavior, because we are also in control of our thinking. And I'm going to be using what we do and what we think interchangeably, although I am fully aware of the differences. And so my kind of thesis tonight is that human behavior drives personal success. And since we are in control of human behavior, we are actually also in control of success. But what is success? If you want to go into the definitions, you might think there is no definition of success. It's an accomplishment of an aim or purpose. But aims are so different. And so it means that angles from which success is seen are also many. The definitions of an aim and of success are as multiple as personal aims, if you want. I was reflecting on Mwalimu Nyerere's definition of success. He says success is when people are happy. And I think he agrees with Plato and Aristotle. Aristotle says the aim of all things, of every effort, is eudaimonia, or happiness. But it drew my attention to a man I met in my village who was drunk. He drinks a lot. He was in torn trousers, so he was putting on different trousers to patch up for the torn parts. But you could still see the buttocks, actually, even with 3 or 4 trousers, because they were terribly torn. But when he met me, he said, "John, if the world is so sweet like this, how will heaven be like?" He was extremely happy. Was he successful? Maybe not. So it then means that there is something more than happiness. You need to have justified happiness, informed happiness. You can be happy but a failure, and that's even very dangerous. I have quoted, I think, Aristotle, and he must be the one who said, "He who knows not and knows not that he knows not is a fool." But he said, "He who knows not and knows that he knows not is not a fool. He can ask to be told, and he will become a wise man." So although there are different aspects of success, especially personal success, I think there is a level of unwritten consensus as to what constitutes success and what constitutes failure. It's there. I was trying to look at how different people view success, and I found the 2 most interesting pieces of art. That's why I liked them. I picked them from the rest, because they were quite artistic. Somebody was just drawing them. And as you can see, one of them says, being the best, that is success, if you are the best, or to be the first. Success is linked to competition, that you have to be the best, you have to be the first, you have to be noticed. It actually means that if I am a celebrity, I'm successful because I'm noticed. Celebrities are noticed. I don't think all of them are great men and women, but they are popular men and women. Maybe not great at all. So success should be connected with greatness rather than with popularity. Be different. Maybe be yourself. Again, not like the other drunken neighbor who was extremely happy and was asking, if the world is so sweet, how will heaven be like? And yet, he was in 3 different toned trousers, but you could still see his buttocks because they were terribly torn. If I was to ask you to write down on the messages section how you view success, I'm sure some of you would be talking about wealth, others about wisdom, others about fame, others about happiness and well-being and satisfaction and legacy and power. This is just to mention only a few. It suffices to note that if the purpose is small, our success will be small. If the purpose is big, our success will be big. Can we pull down success to our level, our small levels of thinking? Or we should challenge ourselves to rise to the higher standards required of successful people in order to count ourselves successful. Success is not manipulated. And so, as I said from the start, there are acceptable levels of, there's an acceptable level of consensus on what constitutes success and what constitutes failure. We don't have enough time. I would have loved some of you to write down. No, I'm not going to ask to read it, to read through it, but you can just write it down if you want. The way you view success, so that you can share with others, or the way you see others viewing success within your circles. I'm sure many of you will write down property, and others even particularize what property they are talking about. A good house, whatever that means. Flourishing business. Again, whatever that means, because it could be small business flourishing, big business flourishing. Promotion on the job, again, whatever that means. Or job security, attainment of higher education, if that was the purpose. A good family, marriage, good, a happy family, wife, children, husband, or partner. Success in leadership, trust and confidence of colleagues. I've just quoted late Eliza and Evelyn. If you watched them work, you would want to be like them. And I think they were able to win the trust of very many people. And I think that is success. Think also of what could be the indicators of failure in the view of most people. Because failure also exists. And the reason we are talking about success is because we fear the dangers of failure. And so I want to give us a warning. Failure, whether it is real or perceived, leads to several problems: frustration, disappointment. There is stress, and there are illnesses connected with stress, related to stress. Stress takes you to hospital and can kill you. Loss of self-esteem. Some people, even if you are to try again, they say, I'm not capable of doing this. I won't manage. There's a bishop who was telling us 2 days ago, we are installing the chancellor of our university that Evelyn alluded to, Dr. Jonathan, Goodluck Jonathan, who was the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So the bishop told us a story that many people were failing to complete PhDs in the UK. And he studied from the University of Leeds. So there's somebody who decided to investigate why many PhD students were failing to complete. And he made that his topic. And unfortunately, he also failed to complete. So fear to try again, loss of trust and confidence, reduced quality of life. All these are challenges that come with failure, whether it is real or not, as long as it is perceived. So what are the behaviors that drive personal success? I want to refer to a scenario that I'm borrowing from Mr. Ambrose Chibuka. Mr. Ambrose Chibuka was one time, I think about 2 or 3 years ago, giving a keynote address at one of the universities here in Kampala. There was graduation. And you know, Mr. Ambrose Chibuka speaks so eloquently. He's a gifted speaker. He said, just paint this picture in your mind. Just imagine we are getting the whole population in Uganda and taking it to Israel. And then we get the whole population in Israel and bring it to Uganda. We tell them settle here and work. You visit these countries after 10 years. How will Uganda be like? And how will Israel be like? He said, just think about it. Many of us thought that Israel will begin struggling somehow and get back to a developing nation. And there was some kind of consensus that Uganda, after 10 years, would probably not even be a middle-income country, but actually a developed country. So Ambrose concluded by saying that just as the house cannot be better than the materials that make it, that constitute it, there is no society that will be better than the quality of its population. I have paraphrased a few things. But we can be as successful as our abilities can permit. And so I want to get into a few things and try to unpack them. It's like a toolbox. You find so many tools. But I decided to pick a few of these. The most important of these, according to me, is visioning. Setting a long-term vision. Constructing a picture of what you think you want to be in the long term is extremely important. I want to refer to a study which was done at the University of Harvard in the 1950s. Somebody decided to conduct a study. It was a small group of people with students who were studying law at the University of Harvard. And they were asking them a few questions, 1 or 2 questions. What is your vision? What is your dream? They were using the term dream. And some of the students laughed at them and said, you people, we are at Harvard studying law, if you forgot. This is a dream come true. Do we need to dream really? I mean, even in Makerere in the 70s, if you are admitted into the law program, many organizations will come to you to ask if you can accept a vehicle from them and sign that you will work for them after you have graduated. Immediately you are admitted. You'll get all of these organizations. So how about at Harvard in 1950s? So many of them said we have already arrived, no need to dream. But some of them had a dream. And unfortunately, it's only about 20% of the law students in Harvard in the different years that actually had a dream, about 20%. And then the question was, do you have a strategy to achieve your dream? Of that 20%, again, there was a very small group, again, of about 20% of the 20%. Very small indeed, as a percentage of the overall total, who said, yes, we have a strategy. This is what we intend to do. Others do not have a strategy. Anyway, it was a prospective cohort study, so they went following them up into their future life. The first analysis was done in 1980s, late 1980s, and this is what they found. A cohort is a group of people being followed up for study purposes. It was discovered that the 20% who had a dream on the whole were earning an average income that was 350% higher than the average income of all those people who were in Harvard at that time doing law. So surprising. And then when they went to those who had a strategy on how to achieve their dream, a very small number, because they were about 20% of only the 20%. So a very small percent of the total. They were earning over 500%, higher than the overall average income of the whole group. And I'm not reducing success to income, colleagues. It's only one measure of success. There's a general consensus that some level of income is important. We have all seen this during these days of COVID. But it's not necessarily the only measure of success. In this study, they were using income, success in terms of income in relation to the goal and to the dream. So you can imagine the value of having a dream and the risks involved in not having it. You still can be successful, but you can imagine the differences in terms of income. So we need to have a dream and then to begin taking actions towards that dream. I have seen a book written by Professor Wasa Valunywa, Managing the Future from the Present. I think he wrote another one, Managing the Present from the Future. You can manage the present you can manage the future from the present. After you have coined your dream, then it is important to begin taking actions that will lead you towards achieving that dream. Those that I have spoken to before in UMU have probably heard about the story of 3 men who were crushing stones. They were just crushing stones to use in construction industry. To do the slab and the floor and to make the columns. And the man came and asked one of them, he said, "Gentlemen, what are you doing?" One of them said, "Can't you see what I'm doing? I am crushing stones. You have eyes and you can't use them." Said, "Okay, thank you very much." Turned to the second and said, "Gentlemen, what are you doing?" The second one said, "Don't joke with me. I'm earning $50 per day." Apparently, that was the day's wage for all of them. And then he went to the third and said, "Gentlemen, what are you doing?" The third one said, "I am helping to build a cathedral." 3 men doing the same thing, but gave 3 different answers. One said, I'm crushing stones. The other one said, I am earning $50 a day. And the third one said, I'm helping to build a cathedral. Now I'm going to ask you, if you have space to write in the messages section, who of the 3 men, the one you think was really minding about the quality of the stones he was crushing? Because there is ½ inch, there is ¼ inch, and they are used for different purposes. Of the 3 men, do you think there is one who was really mindful of the quality? Who was this man? I want to mention, colleagues, that many of us are professionals, engineers, accountants, professors, whatever profession. But many of us actually are crushing stones. There is a disconnect between what we are doing now and what we intend to see many years to come. A doctor who says, no, I sit in the consultation room, patients come, I check, I do diagnosis. If I'm not satisfied, I send them to the laboratory for further investigation. I prescribe treatment after diagnosing the illness, and they go. That doctor is crushing the stones. Because that's not the purpose. The purpose is to create a very healthy and productive population that can drive the economy forward and take the country to a middle-level income status, or to even a developed level nation status. So if as a professor, I'm only seeing people and teaching them and they go away, and there is a disconnect between what I am doing and the society I want to see in the future, I am just crushing stones. Having the vision. The second point, Madam Chair, is identifying and utilizing the resources around us. You see, it is very important for us to be able to identify the resources that we have. We have resources around us. We have role models, we have mentors, we have ideas. And if we don't have them, that's not an excuse. Ideas are all around us. Search for them. Go on the internet, go into other, sources of information. There are several ideas. We have friends, we have networks, we have families. All these are resources that we can use. Who has ever approached the person and said, I admire you, I have grown up admiring your character, you are my role model. I have a few questions. How can I progress from this level towards becoming like you? We admire people and stop there. They are our role models and we don't talk. We are not utilizing the resources that are around us. Where I have utilized the resources around me. I walked straight to a man that has been my role model when I was in primary school, in secondary school. He used to be a pilot. Later, he became a member of parliament. And now he left politics, he's in the farming. I approached him, I said, you have really influenced my life. There's a lot of you in me, but you don't know it. I want us to have a conversation. And we talked. So I asked him a number of questions. And he gave me answers. And I took immediate actions. Immediately after talking to him. Let me turn to the next point. We need to master the art of selling. We have not all studied sales and marketing, or we have never even studied them at all. But let me tell you, colleagues, never say, I have no money. Simply say, I have nothing to sell. Simple. Don't say, I have no money. Just say, I have nothing to sell. Because if there was something to sell, you would get what? Money. Begin preparing what to sell. Labor, products, At the age of 20, what you will say when you are 75. I usually tell my students on graduation day, I say, prepare what you will say when you are 75. Prepare what you will say when you are 80. Now that you are 22. What will you say 5 years from now? When you are out of your job? When you are 75? When you are 80, what will you be saying? Because if you don't prepare for it now, you will have nothing to say. There's a man who was cutting grass to thatch the house. And I think I was in year 3 at Makerere University. And I was doing community mobilization. So I came to that, and I met that man. And I said, Mzee, how are you? He said, I'm fine. He said, you are cutting grass for the house? Yes. How old are you? He said, I'm 75. I said, don't you have children to help you? He said, no, my 2 sons are all grown-ups. They are actually down there cutting grass also to thatch their own houses. So I said, this land belongs to you? He said, yes. I said, if you planted a tree, one eucalyptus tree, 20 years ago, how many pieces of timber would it give you today? The man said, how do you know? I have actually been splitting timber for different people. I am a kind of technician in that area. And we have planted trees for a Hajj across and for some other rich men. It will give you about 200 pieces of timber. So I said, how much is a piece of timber? I realized one tree, if he had planted it 20 years ago, would roof his house with iron sheets and the houses of his 2 children, 2 sons. One tree like this. So I said, why didn't you plant one? You have land. He said, my son, you know, these trees take a bit of time to grow, and you would imagine that it would have died by the time they would reach maturity. So I realized that the problem is not a lack of resources, it is short-term thinking. You want your food for today. And you forget that you will be here, you will be there tomorrow, and you will also need the food. So don't ask for food, ask for land to prepare to grow your own food, because then you will keep eating it. But if somebody gives you cooked food, you will just eat it, and tomorrow you will starve. Have you ever imagined that each time you go to buy airtime or to load data on your phone, you are selling for doing business, selling basically for somebody who is somewhere in Saudi Arabia, in Abu Dhabi or in Dubai, and who doesn't even know you. And you are doing his business. At its highest level, selling is even better when people sell for you and you don't know them. But they have something to benefit by selling for you. You know? By loading data on your phone, or sending a message, oh, immunization is very dangerous, like the messages we have been dealing with. You are actually promoting the business of someone. Some people they deliberately put very terrible messages so they can spread very quickly. And they make money for a certain company. They will say, the Pope has said this. And you say, no, this is not possible. And then you keep sending information. Because there was Pope, information will go to over 20 million people in less than 2 days. Imagine how much money is that? That was how much money somebody would have made. So what can you sell through others to places you have never been to, through people you do not know? Colleagues, selling. Think of what you will sell in 5 years, in 10 years, and take actions now. After talking to that old man, I went and decided to plant some trees. I didn't take it as a serious economy. Now I talked to that mentor I was talking about, and he made a calculation for me. He said, if you plant only 20,000 eucalyptus trees within only 4 years, each of those would give you this amount of money, and you multiply. I said, what? I went and planted 40,000 trees. I still want to plant more. And then he said, after 4 years, when you cut, you will get double that number, or that number 3 times, because new ones will come up, and they are either 2 or 3, depending on the spacing requirements. And you can decide to be cutting and selling every 2 years at that level, or you wait until they can give you more money. I am becoming, as I said, very oversimplified, because at the end I will say, what actions are we going to take now? What level of annoyance have we generated and accumulated as a result of this presentation? And we are going to, what actions are we going to take after this presentation? Colleagues, Madam Chair, another one is developing what I want to refer to as success anchor habits. Success anchor habits. Things like time management. And I have put running the NCHE executive director from the NCHE executive director. Because just about a week ago, I went there for the meeting. And I went very early in the morning. I wanted to be the first one there. So by 20 minutes past 7, I was at the National Council for Higher Education. So I boasted to the receptionist. I said, I'm the first one here. He said, well, yeah, you are, but not earlier than the executive director of the NCHE. I said, what do you mean? He said, oh, she arrives earlier than anyone else, and she's right now in office. I said, really? He said, yeah, she even told us that don't struggle, don't try to come earlier than you always do. You are doing a good job. I always arrive first. And I went to her office and congratulated her. And I said, I will be speaking, making a presentation that involves anchor habits. I'm going to quote you. I'm quoting her with her permission. There are simple things like time management that amount to great outputs in life. Do you know why the less educated people are more successful in some aspects than us with all our education? Madam Chair, if you go to Chikubo, you find somebody who is selling, who is a sales agent, a sales girl or boy in somebody's shop. She knows that every morning she wakes up very early to open the shop, clean, and start selling. But the doctor will dodge doing the word round and expects to remain on the payroll. They say, who is the doctor on the word round? They said the doctor has not showed up and we can't trace him. His phones are off. Nobody knows. A professor in the university can dodge a class and miss a class. Students come, see, they say, where is the professor? They say, oh, sorry, call the dean. The dean says, oh, his phones are off. He didn't notify what's going on. But a bus driver who is taking passengers to Arua knows that he has to be in the bus. Passengers cannot come sit in the bus. They look for the driver. The driver is not there. They call the conductor. He says the driver has escaped. And then that driver expects to drive the bus again. No. People with less education know very well. They have appreciated the value of these anchor habits, and they know you have to maintain discipline. So I've looked at the time, Madam Chair. I'm going to finish and complete in a few minutes to come. So achievement orientation. Do we measure what we achieve every week? Do we even plan for our achievements that week and what we achieve at a personal level, at the level of the job, at a family level? Commitment to excellence, that whatever you do it perfectly well. Of course, things like networking and personal care, all these are extremely important. Let me rush. I've looked at the time. Ambition and determination. I want to introduce you to the concept of BHAGs. I don't have enough time. Setting goals that are big, hairy, audacious. That's what we call a BHAG. A big goal, something really difficult. Don't set a simple goal. Hairy means even scary. Audacious means it's a bit even risky. Set such a challenging goals. Believe in yourself. Work around your passion all the time. Don't fear to make mistakes. But of course, do some adequate preparation. And when you fail once, don't give up. I know some students who studied with their colleagues who are now professors. The reason those students dropped from school is because they repeated the class. Others repeated and passed, and now some are engineers, doctors, professors, and the other ones remained at home. It's because they failed and gave up. And the other thing, Madam Chair, let us act now. If you pick a point that is important, act on it now. Procrastination is the king of failure. Every failed person has ever had a good idea. They never implemented it. Talking of big, hairy, audacious goals, the BHAGs, recently we lost a lady, you will remember. The architect of funeral services in Uganda. I remember when the funeral services were started, we all laughed and said, really? We have our communal arrangements of burying the people. Who is going to pay money? You have lost a person and then you pay money. That some self-styled experts will come and conduct burial. She was undeterred. She came from Italy with that determination and told her brothers and husbands, I am going to start. They said you can start alone. She went in it alone and a few people. And see what happened. Today, even in my village, they call funeral services. Can you imagine? Or when they started packing water. One professor in Makerere, I was in Makerere, told us that, oh, there is a rich man with a lot of money in the pocket, but nothing in the head. How can you sell water to an African, to Uganda? We don't even drink water. We drink porridge, we drink. But today, even under my mother's bed, there is a box of mineral water in the village. Can you imagine? You need to take a bit of risk and get into it. Team up with trusted others. Teams can do more than individuals. If you have 25% shares in a 2 billion business, you are better than somebody with 100% shares in the business of only 10 million, 20. But of course, inquire about and apply rules of patronage. This should be the last slide. These are some of the concluding remarks. One, success depends mainly on our behaviors and therefore is in our control, ladies and gentlemen. Number two, we will be as successful as our aims and actions will be. I have talked about BHAGs, big, hairy, audacious goals. And three, although success is understood differently, there is a level of consensus on what constitutes success and failure. And so we should avoid some of the things. We cannot bring success down to our limited visions and ambitions. We should challenge ourselves to rise to the success standards that are generally accepted. And again, to borrow from Ambrose, he didn't put it exactly this way when he made the keynote speech. The success of a community depends on the quality of the people who constitute that community. Let me say finally that nobody can wish you success and you get it just because of wishing. You have to earn it. I know the moderator will be taking us through some discussion, but as she does, please think about these questions. What new thing did you learn today? If it's not there, what did you already know, but was reintroduced in a clearer way or a more fascinating way that can tickle your brain and your mind to action? Number three, what do you need to inquire more about that wasn't clear? Number four, what are you going to do different? And finally, what immediate actions, and I like that one, what immediate actions are you going to take before this year ends? I'm not going to wish you success because you can only earn it. Thank you, moderator. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, fellow alumni, for listening to me.
Thank you very much, Professor Mugisha. You deserve a hand clap. Guys, let's just give Mugisha a hand clap. Thank you, Professor. You have tickled our mind to ask ourselves, what is success? What are failures? What do we need to do? And how do we get there? Members, we've all heard for ourselves, and I'm sure all the tickling questions are there. We would now want to open the floor for discussion. Raise your hand and you will make your comments. Ambrose, if I am not seeing all the hands, I will kindly request you to help me, and we go through this session. The floor is open for discussion. Is there any hand up that I'm not seeing? Ambrose, you can support me there. Members, you're free to give your comments, any additional ideas that you'd like to share, or anything that we have picked from the discussion. The floor is open. Yes, Dr. Omona Chizito, you're first, and then we'll be followed by Mr. Bernard Magulu.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair, and many thanks to Professor Mugisha. He has been my lecturer when I was doing my first master degree. Professor Mugisha, I'm very, very much inspired by your communication, and maybe on top of all that you have said, yes, we can achieve, but at the bottom of it all, we also need to be mindful about God. If you do work hard the way professors mentioned and you forget about God, then you may also end nowhere. But if you put God also in the center of that hard struggle, just like the way professors said, then eventually you'll be able to achieve your full potential. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Mona. Bernard Magulu, and make your comments.
Yeah, thank you very much, Madam Moderator and Professor. I will certainly agree with you that you have demystified and brought it down to a very practical orientation. The examples are fantastic. They are real life issues that are envisioned almost in everyday life. I'll tell you that being a practitioner out here, I really see that if everybody looked and in their own heart understood that this is what they need to, I will give you two examples. It is not enough to have a vision, but it is important for you to implement it forcefully. Successful people, this kind of behavior of aggressiveness, no nonsense, always leads to success. And there are so many people that you can look around in this world, even in the captains of discipline, that have done this, and they are admirable of what they have done. Not necessarily that they are very intelligent, they have a PhD, they are chartered accountants like us, they went to Harvard. No, but it's because they have a big picture. They have a small head, but a big idea. Like one of my customers, he keeps telling me, you went to Harvard, you are very good, you went to this university, but I come to you for help. Me, I have a big head, but a small idea, and is successful. The likes of Dangote. These are very, very formidable examples. The executive and chairman of Equity Bank Nairobi, with his ambition, and so there are so many. And we also have local entrepreneurs here that are doing this, and others are on a small scale, but they have got success. They are looking ahead. They are enforcing vision forcefully. Secondly, and more importantly, that many times people have done this from a paper approach and failed when they demise. I therefore add something very important to all of you and reflect about it. How many of you, of us who are here, who have got a will? Because if you die and you have not put a will all your legacy and vision will collapse. And that's why those who have thought about it have created foundations and documented their legacy and how their businesses and vision should be implemented on a continuous basis. I thank you. Thank you, Professor, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I yield the microphone back to you, please.
Thank you, Bernard Magulu and Dr. Chizito. I am not seeing another hand up. If there is, please make your comment or statement or anything that you'd like to add. Members, the floor is open for discussion. Thank you for those insights, Bernard. And thank you, Kizito, for saying God should not be forgotten. I am sure he is there in the center of these thoughts as well. So we are open for discussion. Am I seeing another hand up? If your hand is up, yes, Florence Nampera, you're welcome. Good to see you.
Good afternoon, Chair, and good afternoon, everyone. I am happy to have joined this discussion. Apologies late, but I picked a few issues in the last 20 minutes when I joined. Thank you so much, Professor John Jisha, for that eloquent and passionate discussion. Yeah, I was happy to be listening to the same John Jisha, the health admin, very social, academic, parent, and many good things. Not that I'm introducing him, because I'm sure they introduced him before he started, but just to say that I knew him well personally before this. Just in case I repeat what could have said in the beginning, like I said, I was late. I wish to add to the voice of success that
yes, Florence.
People who are successful, I hope that disruption doesn't in me. There was an incoming call. Chair, do you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
So I was adding that successful people do a lot of delegation, but they also do respect profession. Very often you will see somebody able to do hundreds of things. I think this is a concept in administration, but really all seated with their little knowledge in only one aspect or a few aspects, but they are able to coordinate a lot of things from different professionals who are best placed in that area. So I think as people working for success, we need to respect profession. And so it means that if I am seated here and I want to have the best building, yes, I am the entrepreneur with all the money, but I should be able to listen to the planner. I should be able to listen to the environmental practitioner. I should be able to listen to the architect. I should listen to the engineer, because they are best at their job. So in our journey of success, we need to respect profession, and we also need to delegate a lot if we are not going to break. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Florence. I see Odama Modest, your hand is up.
Thank you so much, moderator. I want to also thank my brother and colleague, Professor Mujisha. This has been a wonderful and inspiring presentation on human behavior that drives personal success. I'm really happy to hear from you, and I am reminded that a lot of the things you have said are going to help us a lot, especially those of us who are academics, because we have been left behind in many ways. Thank you very much. I want to keep quiet and go to do the good things you have reminded us today. God bless you, Mjisha. Thank you, moderator.
Thank you, Odama. Do I have another hand up? Etiang, I can see you. Jackie Mamawi, Mubangizi, and I'm calling out the the generals, the alumni, the old ones that we started with together. Any comments from the presentation? Please raise your hand. Yes, Ambrose Chivuka.
Yeah, thank you very much, the moderator, and thank you very much, Professor, for tickling our minds. One, I have a request to make that when people speak, maybe they can introduce themselves a little bit so that we know them and perhaps what they do. Ambrose Chivuka is my name. I'm into organizational development consulting and higher education consulting. And I think that Professor has brought out something very powerful. I have a friend and a mentee. He's called Daniel Chaudhry. Some of you in the corporate world might know him. He's a very aggressive young man who sells selling. And he wrote a book on selling. And he taught me that actually everything boils down to selling. So apart from the fact that as Professor is saying that we have to have something to sell. But I have also learned over the years that it's one thing to have something to sell and actually be able to sell it. And so the ability to sell that which you have to sell is also something that all of us have to be interested in, because either you are a career professional and you have to learn how to sell yourself, the value that you bring to organizations, or you have a service to render that you must learn how to sell. He talked about the late Regina Muchibi, who happened to be my friend, and I interacted closely with her. At one point, I wanted to link her to UMU so that we can offer professional courses in the funeral management thing, but things didn't go well. So you see how she had to sell this hard-to-sell service to Ugandans, and now it has become an industry, a huge industry, by the way. Of course, if you have a product, a physical product to sell, then you must be able to sell it. So I want to implore all of us. I'm someone who has also started now taking a lot of interest in learning how to sell, because I'm good at producing concepts and products and so on, but I've not been good at selling. So people like Daniel Chaudhry have woken me up to the fact that everybody, as long as you want to be useful in the marketplace, you must learn how to sell. Thank you very much, Professor.
Thank you, Ambrose. And just like you have requested, I will just ask Bernard, Florence, Odama, and Chizito to introduce yourself so that the rest of you can catch up and we know each other. I will start with Bernard. Bernard, just tell us what you do, where you're from, before we go to another hand that I've seen up. Kindly, Bernard, 1 minute.
Okay, thank you, Madam Moderator. Bernard Robinson Magul is my name. Of course, an alumni of UMU. Currently, I wear several hats, but professional, I'm a chartered accountant, fellowship status, and executive director for Bank of Africa. I've been doing this job in banking for the last 15 years. I've done a lot of blue collar baseline entry institutions that established themselves from ground zero. For instance, we started UBA from a swimming pool at Hotel Africana, and then we made it a bank after working with the Bank of Uganda for a couple of years. So that's what I do. I am the vice chairman of Ugandan Convention UK, and we network, trade, and we organize investors between Uganda and the diaspora community, and we work towards successful partnerships with governments of several countries. I think that can be a bit. I'm a farmer and a family man with 3 boys. Thank you.
Thank you, Bernard. And Florence, can you tell us something about yourself briefly? We move to the 2, Odama and Chizito, then I will move back to Stephen. Yes,
Thank
Florence.
you, Chair.
Yes, Florence.
My name is Florence Nampera. There is some feedback. I hope it's not on your side.
No.
My name is Florence Nampera.
Florence, we can't hear you. Would you type in the chat? Yes. Can you type in the chat, probably, and we read, since we can't hear you well. Modest Odama, 1 minute. Just introduce yourself in a few seconds.
I am Dr. Odama Kai Modest. I am one of the faculty members in the Faculty of Education right now in Uganda Matters University. I'm not an alumni, but I have manufactured thousands of alumni for UMU.
Thank you. Thank you. Florence, are you able to speak now? Thank you.
Do you hear me?
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you, Florence. If you can't type in the chat in the interest of time, can I ask Kizito?
Okay,
Kizito,
thank you,
just
Madam
introduce
Chair.
yourself. Yes.
Yes, please. I'm Dr. Mona Kizito. Currently, I'm a lecturer in Uganda Matters University. I completed my Master of Science in Health Service Management in 2012, where Professor Mugisha was my lecturer. And I also did another Master of Science in Monitoring and Evaluation last year. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Stephen, your hand was up. Sorry for keeping you. You can now make your remarks and introduce yourself.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Stephen Al-Nayton, and I am the General Secretary for the UMUA. I went to UMU in 2013 and left in 2015 with a Masters of Science in ICT Management. And I'm into consultancy. I'm working with the Esteem International Consultants Limited, and I'm the Director for Research and Consultancy. For me, I am thrilled by Professor's presentation, and specifically on the issue of selling. I think as UMUA, we are going to repackage ourselves and see what we can sell so that we can make UMUA shine. But also amongst ourselves, we need to adopt the issue of selling. We sell everything that we have to get money. As you put it clearly, you can't say you don't have money, you only need to say you don't have something to sell. But also on the issue of taking action. I think this is a very good thing. Every member who is out there listening, especially on the team of UMUA, the issue of taking action should really be taken into consideration so that we make this UMU move from one level to another as it moves with us, as its members. I thank you very much.
Thank you, Stephen. If I don't see another hand, I'm going to ask Professor Mugisha to probably make some remarks where necessary. And Professor, before you do that, can you please share the screen on discussion and reflection so that as members are asking questions or as we are talking, we are reflecting on that homework that you left us with. Kindly share that screen. Members, you're still free to make any comments, contributions, even if the professor is going to speak. Yes, reflection and discussion. So as that screen is in front of us, I think each one of us can reflect on those areas and tell ourselves what are we going to do, especially when I look at 4 and 5. What are we going to do differently? What are the immediate actions that we are going to take? We are not going to write them here, but I think it's for our own personal reflection. Professor, I don't know from the comments already made whether you have any remarks as we continue.
Thank you very much, moderator. I want to thank those who have shared different reflections and comments. there was really no question. There were additions, and I appreciate Dr. Omona Chizito, that God is at the center of each and everything that we do. I should have brought that out. And I used it too in class, you remember? I don't think I grew up and forgot God. I grew up and knew him better. I'm very sorry and apologize for that omission. But I actually like it that people have already pointed out things almost to start immediately, taking action, selling, improving selling. Even the president of the alumni has said, I am going to work on selling seriously, because I'm an inventor of a number of concepts, and yet people are not buying them, and yet they could change the world, which is correct. There is a book that has put Ambrose on the map. There's a man he quotes who wrote a book, Climbing Your Own Mountain. There's a place where I quoted Ambrose extensively from that book. And people were saying, is this book in the country? So I agree, you might need to sell the book, because I was talking about it and marketing, and people wanted to take the copy that you gave me. So thanks to all of you for putting a stamp of approval on some of the things that we needed to do and to do now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor. Members, please continue registering in the chat room. We would like to know where our alumni are. Tell us the course that you did, which year you left. We just want to create our database so that we don't miss anyone. Ambrose, is your hand up for comments? Yes, Ambrose.
Yeah, thank you very much again. Well, Professor has, I think, kind of like tickled me and provided me an excuse to do some selling here. Okay, so this is the third edition of the book that Professor is talking about. I first wrote, by the way, this book in 2003, the first edition, when I was teaching at UMU at Nkozi. The second edition came out in 2008, and the third edition in 2018, which is this one. Now, this one, why is this one? Now, I'm showing you, Professor, I have learned what you have said, and I'm putting in action, not tomorrow, but now. You can get this edition in St. Paul Bookshop on Kampala Road. And why should you get it? Because the title is After University, What Next? You will tell me, Ambrose, I left university a long time ago. I'm a successful professional. I added a new chapter there, Understanding 21st Century Careers. And that chapter is for all of us. However, that is beside the point. I want to go straight to the point that Professor has discussed, which is about success. Now, in this book, there is a chapter on page 171. And I gave that chapter the title, Designing Your Path to Success. And I quote the words of Jim Rohn. I ask the question, but what is success anyway? To me, one of the most captivating definitions of success is that by Jim Rohn. He says, true success is the attainment of purpose without compromising core values. The attainment of purpose without compromising core values. I will leave it at that. I saw Professor nodding, and I think Professor might want to expound that. Over to you, Prof.
There you go, Professor Mugisha.
Thank you, moderator, and thank you, Ambrose. In my speech, by the way, that's why I've said I have kept quoting Ambrose and some of the books that he has inspired me to read, to look up, and read. And I quoted that recently in my speech about 2 days ago on our graduation. Achieving your purpose without compromising core values. We must, as we aspire to succeed, we need to ground ourselves in values that last. Like kindness, like concern for others, like sincerity, honesty, you know. Integrity is a very big word. Maybe many words refer to some aspects of it. Concern for others, you know. Those are the core values that are required of all humanity. And so as you struggle to succeed, don't steal someone's property in order to become rich. Don't plagiarize in order to get a degree. Don't rig elections in order to win. Don't bribe yourself into office in order to get to a higher level or to get to be promoted. This is what he's talking about, that gentleman Hayhurst. Attaining your goals without compromise core values. This is very, very important. And I think it has an element of what Dr. Omolochisto was talking about, because you need proper knowledge of God to be able to aspire to uphold those core values. I thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Professor. I can see Musime Kellen, that is Mrs. Mugisha, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, Musime, your hand is up. You can make your comments. You can make your comments, unmute and make your comments. Kellen?
Hello.
Yes.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm happy for the presentation. I need to say that one of the actions I'm to take, I'm going to make sure that all my ideas, I put them in plan. And I need also to call upon all alumni that we have not been putting what we think about in action. So I request that all of us, we need to think twice and we need to begin immediately. I thank you so much, Evelyn.
Thank you, Mrs. Mugisha. So we can see you've seen teamwork here, that Mrs. is here to listen and to also support. We want that team spirit. Thank you very much, Kellen. We have had the comments. I don't know whether there's any other hand up that we have not seen, but like I said earlier, we continue to reflect on the questions that were left behind by Professor. And if there's no other hand, I want to thank you very much for all the contributions. And at this point, I would like to invite Ambrose Chibuka, the President UMUA. Ambrose, this time you're not just speaking as Ambrose, but as the President. You're welcome. Mr. Chibuka.
Thank you very much. My camera is not so clear, but you can get at least a hazy picture of myself. I'm very honored. Thank you very much, Madam Moderator. I'm so happy that we are having our second online meetup. And this is going to be monthly. Like we say these days, teri kuzikiza, if you know what I mean. This is not going to stop. I'm very happy that people on a Saturday afternoon are able to sacrifice this time and come together. I'm happy that we are getting to know each other as alumni of the same institution. I'm happy that we are expanding our social network. There is a little book I wrote and I gave it the title, Demystifying Capital. And I unpack capital in 6 forms. And number 6 is financial capital. Number 5 is physical capital, the land, the cars, and so on. And I argue that the first 4 are the most important. Actually, it is, if you do not have the first 4 and if you cannot utilize them well, you cannot get the last two. You can't get the money and you can't get the physical assets. So, and for me, number one is intellectual capital, the nature of ideas and so on that we have. Number two is spiritual capital. I unpack that. For example, some of the things that the professor has talked about also qualify under spiritual capital. A sense of purpose is a spiritual force that drives somebody, in addition to other aspects of spiritual capital. And the third is social capital. And the fourth, which Professor again has talked about, is time as capital. How we utilize time determines, our level of success, whatever the definition of success that you use. So the fact that we are using this platform now to expand our social capital, getting to know our colleagues, alumni that we didn't know, we didn't get people to introduce themselves, all of them. But I can see, for example, Mr. Chisenyi has just posted here, very powerful man. I think he's one of the pioneer alumni. I saw Mirembe. Mirembe is Mirembe Isharaza. She's one of the students I taught at UMU, and she's one of the people who have advanced in life that I admire a lot. I mean, when she begins speaking and sharing with you ideas, you really see she's now based in Switzerland. She's a very powerful logistician. So there are a lot of people, I know many of you here, very powerful ladies and gentlemen here. So to see that we are able to meet here, and this is going to be monthly, is a very powerful thing. Before I go on, in my capacity as President UMUA, I would like to introduce the colleagues that I work with on the executive. The Deputy President is Judith Nagudi. She's based in Mbale. Judith Nagudi, I saw her online. We have Stephen Al-Nayton, who just made a comment a while ago. He's our General Secretary. We have Ivan Lubwama. He's a powerful guy at MOOBS there also. I think he works in the finance department. He's our Secretary for Finance. We have the Secretary for Events and Social Affairs, that's Charles Brian Mubiru. We have the Secretary for Publicity, Catherine Ageno, who is a programmer with the Nation Media Group. So she's also there. We have our speaker. He's online. He's on with us. John Bosco Cheyune, Mr. He's into education. We have Stephen. Remind me if I've forgotten somebody. I think yeah. Then we have Professor Vincent Bajire. I wasn't about to forget Professor Vincent Bajire because he is on the executive because he is the alumni representative. And there he is. He's the alumni representative on the University Council. By University Council, I mean the Council of Uganda Matters University. Professor Vincent Bajire is a professor of strategy at MOOBS. And he was the first guild president at Uganda Matters University, and he was the first guild president, and he was among the pioneer group that joined UMU in 1993. So that is the team that I do lead with. we shared with you a newsletter the last time, and we saw our term in office as a term to reinvent UMUA, to lay a foundation for now taking UMUA to the next level. So this series of meetups come in the spirit of let's get to know each other a little more. Before I end and hand over back to the moderator, I want to highlight a few things. One is that Professor Michel Lejeune did donate to us the book that he wrote. He donated it to UMUA, and this book is available on sale. So kindly, can I request Stephen or Brian, if you are on, can you type your number in the chat room so that people can contact you? Please contact Charles Brian Mubiru, and deliveries will be made. This book is 20,000. And so if you factor in delivery to your respective workplaces or wherever your place of convenience is, then we shall factor in the transport, the border guy for delivery. And the book is available. So the contact for Brian will be typed in there. And the proceeds from this book, we have decided, will now go to a very important project that we are launching. We are launching a very systematic, if you want, scientific tracer study. We want to do a tracer study of all the alumni, and we want to document this very well because we have realized that we cannot implement any project successfully if we do not have a good, a solid database of the alumni. So we want to trace every alumni wherever they are, those in Uganda, those in other countries. We want to trace them. So it's a study we are launching. You will know, for example, the president during the Silver Jubilee anniversary, the president did pledge 100 million shillings for UMUA. But he challenged us. He said, I want you to get for me information about all the alumni of Uganda Matters University who are entrepreneurs. Now, we don't know who is an entrepreneur. We don't know who is not. So, but this is just one example. We are not doing it because of what the president said, but whichever initiative that you want to take, and there are many opportunities, we need to have a solid database. We need to be basing on evidence. So we are launching this tracer study. We have already started forming a think tank, which is again headed by Professor Vincent Bajire, which is going to be helping us in these kinds of initiatives so that we have this information. We will be giving you detailed information about the think tank when they have put something at table. It's always good when you have something to sell, like Professor has told us. So when they have something to sell to the rest of us, then we'll be unpacking everything. We are also working on the UMUA circle that is in the pipeline so that we start a circle that should happen very soon. Our ambition is that it was disrupted by the lockdowns. Otherwise, our target was to have it ready by July. But our ambition now, our target is to have it ready by the end of this year. Like I said, we are going to have these as monthly series. So please, every month, every end of month, we are going to be having these sessions. I invite you, if there are any topics that you think we should be handling in future, kindly do send us an email. The official email now is events@umualumni.com. That's the website. The website is umualumni.com. So events@umualumni.com. That is where you send the emails and give us suggestions on topics for future presentations. And also, if you have in mind someone that you think can be a presenter at those events, or you can actually volunteer to be the one to make a presentation on a topical issue, that you think that we should be sharing as alumni, we invite you to kindly do volunteer. So my remarks were basically about the fact that we are rejuvenating UMUA. We need you. There are many things that we need to do and we can do, but we can only do this when we are together. And I think one of the last points that Professor talked about in his presentation is that you can't succeed alone. We need each other. We need to form formidable teams among the alumni. I have usually argued that people graduating from UMU should not be crying of lack of jobs. Those of us who are in the field are already connected enough, but yes, we already have even a big potential that we can start up a lot of jobs. We can handhold other people, those who are just graduating or leaving university. There are those of our colleagues, many of them, who have initiated businesses that have not taken off yet, and all they need is our social capital. They don't need our money. They need our social capital to connect them to, to the points that matter the most for their businesses. So we want to be there for each other, to support each other's businesses and to connect each other. So I invite you to keep coming. We will build the momentum. I know some of you will say, last time we were more than 100. Today we are 45. Yes, it's not a guarantee that every topic will be of interest to everybody, and that's okay. So those of us who can converge and pick interest in a certain topic, it's fine. And I want to thank very much Professor Mugisha for having obliged to come and make this presentation. I want to thank very much Evelyn for having obliged also. And I know that Evelyn, what you did for Professor, you'll do for yourself. Kindly introduce yourself to the rest of us in a greater detail so that we may know where to find you. And I want to thank you very much. And I will hand over back the mic to you, Madam Moderator. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambrose. Before I introduce myself, I also want to say thank you. I think our professor has tickled our minds when he gave his presentation. And he started by telling us what is success, what is failure, which we all understand in our own ways. I like the example of the man with the torn trouser. And to me, Professor, that man is successful because he's comfortable, he's happy the way he is. He does not even think about that torn trouser. So he's a success. You gave us a challenge about the three men, the one who was breaking stone, the one who was paid his $50, and the one who said, I am building the cathedral. Before I end, you will tell us of the three who was your successful person, because we each gave our thoughts. And members, I just want us to pick from what Mugisha has shared with us, and especially for the Alumni Association. We are all alumni of Uganda Matters University. How can we replicate this success that we as individuals have for the success of the UMUA? What are those things that we can do together? Because Professor challenged us that you cannot do it alone. And we should not fail to make mistakes. We should be able to pick up and move. Ambrose mentioned we are now vibrant. We want to keep this vibrancy, but we cannot do it alone. And I'm happy that when I look through the attendance, I see the old stones, let me call them the old foundation stones of UMU. You know, when I look at Vincent Kisenyi is on this platform now in the call. We have Dennis Mubangizi, we have Etiang. You know, I have seen Jackie Mamawi. Alan was also a guild president, by the way, Alan Businje at one point. Vincent Bagire. I'm seeing members of staff from UMU who joined us. We thank you very much. I have seen other alumni. This is the spirit, and that is what we can measure our success with. What are we going to do from here? When Mugisha put up the last challenge, it was what challenge are we giving ourselves by the end of the year? And I'm leaving that with Ambrose and the team. Where do you want to see? Patrick Barasa, Pioneer, is also in this group. I saw Patrick signed in. Mr. Barasa, you're welcome. These are people who can tell you of the UMU where we had no roads, but we used to sit on bicycles to reach Uganda Martyrs University. These are people who are in rooms without curtains, rooms with half walls, but that is where the success started from. I have seen many alumni here, and I want us to continue tickling our brains with what Professor left us with. We will continue this discussion. I'm sure the next month will build up, because the last discussion was confronting the future. Today we are saying unpacking for success. Now that we have confronted the future, we are unpacking, looking at the direction, what next. Ambrose and the team will decide. But I want to thank Professor Mugisha for this beautiful presentation. I am sure that we will share it with you people so that we are able to get more insights in our different places where we are and in what we do. So I want to thank you very much. And Ambrose asked me to introduce myself. Ambrose, I am not the best person to do that. But since Mugisha said sell, I am not a good seller. I'm a defeated seller in this area. But I'm Evelyn Grace Ayot. Like I said, I was in Uganda Martyrs University, and it has made me who I am. Especially whenever I'm with Professor Lejean or D. Carabine, I tell them, you are the people that made us who we are. I am currently working with Clark International University as the founding registrar. I started the university in 2007 under the leadership of Dr. Ian Clark, who is the owner and the proprietor. And right now, I am still the registrar for the last how many years, from 2007 to now. I am not going to talk about what the courses are because Mugisha is my colleague here, but we are open to education. And when the alumni, when the association comes up on themes on education and research, I am confident that we have a good team, Ambrose. That is basically what I can say. I'm a parent of 3 beautiful and handsome children, who one was born in UMU, is a child of UMU, and the 2 are in Kampala. That is purely me. I would just want to, before I conclude this session, still I want to go back to Ambrose and say, Ambrose, it is you and the team, and we are grateful for what you are doing, for what you have set yourself to do. And I know that the sky is the limit. We will prove ourselves. Professor Mugisha, we will pick up from this discussion and continue on. And to all the alumni who are here, if you have not introduced yourself, you can still write in the chat. Ambrose, can someone share the website where we were able to register online on the UMUA website so that we continue there? I don't know if there are any other announcements to be made. Ambrose, I beg for your guidance. Yes.
Thank you, Evelyn. And thank you that we have managed ourselves well against the time. So can I request, yeah, it has already been posted there, the link. Kindly do follow that link. It will lead you to the database of the alumni, and you register there. It just takes you very few minutes. In a very short time, like 3 minutes, you'll be done so that we can capture your details. Evelyn, we do have a couple of minutes on us, and I don't know if Professor Bajire, who is our representative to the University Council, if he has anything he would like to communicate to us. There's an opportunity that we have a couple of alumni here. If you can take some minutes. I saw that yeah.
Professor Mawa was also on the call.
Yes, Professor Mawa is still there.
Yeah, Professor Mawa was the very first student who walked into UMU before even the university officially opened. So as requested by the president, Mr. Bagire, I welcome you to make a few remarks. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Evelyn. Thank you, Your Excellency, our president. Thank you very much, participants. I welcome you to this monthly conferences, seminars, webinars, and we are proud that at last as UMU alumni, we are coming together. Let's spread the word. We are many out there, but I know we shall catch the fire as we go on. I'm proud that many pioneers, the first students are online. I have seen Vincent Senya, I've seen Patrick Barasa, of course, Prof. Mawa, and several others. Evelyn, you are one of the second students who came to MOBS. I mean, to our place in UMU. We welcome you. Thank you for chairing the session. Now, regarding what is currently at UMU, for the information of the members, may I share 1 minute with Professor Mawa to give an update in a minute or two? How is our university? Is it still there? Has the thing closed? What's going on, Professor Mawa, for the attention of the alumni online? I thank you very much, Evelyn. Thank you for ably driving the session. It has been very nice for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vincent. Professor Mawa.
Thank you very much, Moderator Evelyn, and thank you, Vincent, for this opportunity. Uganda Matters University continues to shine despite the challenges of COVID. We are running our programs online at the moment, and the students have been completing their studies. We have already successfully completed our academic year 2020-2021, and we are soon beginning our new academic year 2021-2022 this coming month of September. As I said, classes are running online. We are privileged to have received permission from the National Council for Higher Education to deliver a blended learning approach during this COVID period. I just want to reaffirm the commitment that the acting Vice Chancellor, Dr. Mukidi, Father Mukidi, mentioned in our first meeting, that the management is committed to support the Alumni Association to achieve its set objectives and activities. We have developed a 6-month work plan, and in that work plan, we have made a clear commitment to engage the alumni during this period of time. The think tank, which has been initiated, we will tap into it and get great ideas in order to foster the development of Uganda Matters University. We thank you very much, and please, President Umua, get in touch with the acting Vice Chancellor for further details and further information for the future events. Thank you very much, and wish you all the best. On a personal note, Evelyn, on a personal note, I would like to express my thanks to all the members of the Alumni Association for supporting me during my challenging time of illness. Many of you were excited when they heard my voice. Indeed, I'm alive. Thanks to your prayers, thanks to your financial support, and thank you for everything that you did to me to get me back. May God bless you abundantly. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Mawa. We are delighted to hear your voice and to know that you're okay. And that is the team spirit that we are talking about when we talk about UMU alumni. I want to again say
on a lighter note.
Yes.
On a lighter note, Evelyn, I've just noted here that apparently it seems UMU has become the nursery bed for people who take on leadership in other universities in Uganda. So we are moving in the footsteps of Makerere University. You can see Vice Chancellor Cavendish is UMU product. The Vice Chancellor Nkumba University is UMU product. Those are just a few. Yourself at Clark International. And who knows, I think there are a couple of others scattered all over. Kamanzi in Namibia is also in a senior position in university. So UMU is doing such a great job. On a lighter note, I thought there is Vincent Kisenya, I think he's still in UCU. Of course, Professor Bajire in MOOBS. So UMU, I think, is a good breeding ground for
even the VC of the VC of Utamu is a former staff of UMU.
Wow, that is where we are heading, and we should be proud of ourselves. We should take record. You know, when someone said is it the vice president now? So we need to follow those people and be able to get them back to UMU. I saw Agnes Nabisivo earlier on. Agnes is a staff. also in UMU. Nampera, it was nice seeing you on board. I would like to thank each and every one of us. I don't say you or me. We've been in this together. And let's continue with the team spirit. I told Ambrose that for me, when you speak about UMU, it's like you've tickled me the right way. Even when I'm in my office, I talk about UMU and they always ask, but why? I tell them that is where I came from. We should be able to raise the flag of UMU wherever you are. And before we end this session, I know once I say the closing prayer, people will start leaving. Before that, I want us to put on our cameras. Someone take a picture. Turn on your cameras, Ambrose, or anyone with a good phone or camera. Please take that photo so that we can use it. So turn on your cameras, please, if you can, wherever you are. And Ambrose or anyone on the other side who can take a nice picture, we will have it for your archives, and then we will then end with a concluding prayer. Yes, Ambrose.
Yeah, I'm taking.
Okay, thank you very much. With a few, that's no problem. I would like to request someone, I want a volunteer to give us the opening prayer. Earlier on, I asked Baine and he did a very good job. Can I get a volunteer to give us the concluding prayer? I don't want to call out a name, but if I fail, then I will just call a name.
There is
Assumpta?
Dr. Omo.
Gender sensitive, Ambrose.
Yeah, of course, of course.
Yes, so I am calling Assumpta. Assumpta, can you give us the closing prayer? Assumpta, are you on call? If Assumpta is not there, Connie Katusime.
Okay, I'll take it. I wasn't
Yes,
ready.
please. Thank you, no problem.
Let's humble ourselves. Lord Heavenly Father, we thank you for this moment. We thank you for the presentations, for the organization, and everyone who has made it today on this discussion. We pray, Lord, that as we go on for the different series, Lord, you bring the numbers up and everybody will have a learning and we'll get to embrace each other, help each other in everything that we do, and guide us to make a better association for the alumni. We pray all this, believing and trusting in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Connie. Thank you, everyone. We will end with Virtute et Sapientia Ducmundum. And I would like to ask David to play for us that anthem again. I'm sure it will ring a bell in Vincent's ear. He might have not heard it in a while. Bagire, who joined us. So David, please play that anthem again. I would like to thank each and every one of us for turning up this afternoon. Thank you very much. God bless you.
I contributed the comma to the anthem.
Okay.
Inspired by those words, I will stand the martyrs of you run, and guide us in virtue to lead the one. Virtute et sapientia. May we remain faithful and Uganda, Martyrs University, a place of love, where it is good to be. Guide us in wisdom to lead the one. Virtute et sapientia.
Thank you, David. Francis Okello, I'm happy to see you online. I have not seen you since you left UMU. So thank you for this day, Ambrose. Thank you, and back to you. Thank you, members. Have a nice evening, and God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you, and goodbye.
Blessed weekend, gentlemen. Good to see you, Kenny, and Emmanuel Etiang, and everyone. Thank you so much, Professor. Have a blessed weekend, and see you at the end of September for the next session.
Yes, please. Thank you, members. Have a blessed afternoon and evening. Thank you. Can listen to the UMU song playing. So tugende mu maso teri kudamabeka yukanda matasiona ngozi yona. Whoever we are, whatever we do, we make a difference. We do it for you. Now look where we are. We shine like a star, and we taking over. Uganda, you're now older, making 25. Ngozi 25, yeah, growing older and stronger. Happy 25. UMU 25, yeah. I'm guided with wisdom and leading the world. Now look what a beautiful world. So beautiful, so beautiful to me. In virtue and wisdom, I'm leading the world. Now look what a wonderful world. So wonderful it is. And Kosi to Sachimu, Era Tulibumu. Together we can. Our quality is loud and real. The transparency is so real. Reliability you will feel. Accountability is a big deal. Whoever we are, whatever we do, we make a difference. We do it for you. Now look where we are. We shine like a star, and we take it over. Uganda, you're now older, making 25. Ngozi 25, yeah, growing older and stronger. Happy 25, UMU 25, yeah, making a difference. Thank you, David, for the good work, for keeping us online. And thank you, everyone. I will now sign off. Have a good evening and a good afternoon.